I think if we think historically about the moon mission, when we did this 50 years ago, we were locked in this space race with the Soviet Union. A very different time now. Why spend so much money to go back to the moon?
Well, I think it just depends on who you ask. Recently there has been a lot of concern brought up about the fact that China is also sending astronauts to the moon. And so you'll hear lawmakers and even, NASA executives talk about the need to beat China to the moon. There's been concern that maybe they will get there first and kind of stake a claim to that area, preventing our exploration of it. But for more peaceful reasons, there's a lot that NASA hopes to gain from the moon. For instance, there's this idea of jumpstarting a lunar economy. So finding ways to make money off the moon, possibly for an economy around the moon. And then, of course, it's learning how to live off of another planetary body. That's no small feat. And eventually, the goal is to get to Mars. And so learning to live off of the surface of the moon, those lessons can then be applied to Mars living someday.
Loren, how is this a test for NASA in an environment where there's, significant investment in the private space industry, namely in a company like SpaceX, which is expected to IPO this year? What does this mean for NASA? What's at stake?
The unique thing about Artemis is that it is kind of an amalgam of the old and the new, right? So they are using a lot of their long-term contractors like Boeing and Lockheed, which will be on display with this mission. And when it comes to landing on the moon, NASA has contracted and outsourced the lander development to newer players like SpaceX and Blue Origin. So it's actually kind of a mashup of the old and new way of doing business. And so it'll be a test to see if those companies can work together in this, and these different contracting mechanisms can actually, work together to put people back on the surface of the moon.